Okay, I'm going to try to do this in like 5 minutes. I've made a couple of other cluster headache videos that ended up just being too long and rambly and had things in them that didn't matter. But I realized the other day that like probably the number one thing that bugs me that I see that's kind of like I don't know, uninformed people's perception of cluster headaches is that um, and this is based entirely on kind of when I've seen posts on support groups and like, you know, online chat rooms and stuff where various people have mentioned that they have a family member, a friend, a coworker, acquaintance, in some cases even a spouse, who witnesses them having an attack and basically kind of gets all like, you're being so dramatic, you know, or like you're overreacting. Um, and this personally offends me. So to clarify, first of all, I don't have cluster headaches. I've never had one. I don't know what they're like, but my partner of 5 years does have them, and he's had them for 3 years, and he's been chronic for the last 2 of those 3 years. So this means that I've witnessed him having at least like 100 attacks. I mean, I've seen him have dozens and dozens of attacks. And I've seen him have attacks in all kinds of situations. I've seen him have attacks in varying levels of intensity. I've seen him have them where they were as mild as a migraine. And then I've just seen him have attacks that are horrible to even describe. And so my boyfriend, I have known him almost my entire life. I knew him when we were kids. I knew him pretty well when we were teenagers, and then, you know, again, we've been together for 5 years, so I feel like I know him pretty well. And in general, one of the main things that I think anybody who knows him could say about him is that he's incredibly no-nonsense. He's very down-to-earth, and I mean, just in the sense that he's really real. He's honest to a fault. He doesn't really like drama. He gets embarrassed by, you know, any kind of hysteria. He's very shy, so he doesn't like it when people pay a lot of attention to him. And during his bad attacks, yes, his behavior gets very dramatic. I've seen him, you know, I've seen him cry openly. I've seen him like, you know, I've seen him get really dramatic, and usually what he does, even during the kind of the milder attacks, is he rocks his body back and forth pretty violently when he's having an attack. And sometimes as the attacks get worse, his body will start to really kind of twist and contort. He likes to sit kind of semi-upright on the couch during an attack. That's his kind of pet place to go. But, you know, usually his feet really move really quickly. Sometimes he'll kick, sometimes he'll punch that couch, you know, like he had a really bad one last night where he was just cursing over and over. And he'll kind of shout, just, ah, you know. I mean, you know, it's just, whatever. I'm just trying to say that his behavior is pretty crazy. And it's alarming sometimes. And it's hard to see. You know, and I read a post from somebody stating that a woman who has cluster attacks saying she'd had an attack once where somebody asked her, do I need to take you to the ER? And she said no. And I think the person, I don't know who it was annoyed or something, and then just said, well, then why are you acting so dramatic? I mean, I've had the same experience with my boyfriend a couple times where I thought I should take him to the ER, and he just said, no, no, no. And the reason, of course, is because a sufferer who's been through it long enough knows, like, this is going to pass. I just have to get through it. So all I'm trying to say here is that, well, first of all, just people who get cluster headaches, they get them every day, several times a day. Episodic people will get them in blocks, you know, of, you know, I don't know, it seems like 6 weeks is kind of a common time frame, something like that maybe, and then, but whatever it is, it's an incredibly exhausting condition, in addition to being, like, really, really painful. I mean, horrible, you know, we're talking like passing a kidney stone, or women who've had natural childbirth say that they feel like cluster headaches are comparable, or in some cases even worse than that. So it's a tremendous amount of pain that these people endure. They are too tired and just beaten down to put on a little show for anybody to try to get attention. They don't do that. If you're somebody who knows someone, I just went over the 5 minutes, but that's okay. If you're somebody who knows someone who gets cluster headaches and you maybe witnessed them having an attack and it freaked you out and you wondered, was that real? Is that for real? You know, I don't know your person. I don't know what kind of person they are, but I know my person. And I know without any question whatsoever that when he has an attack, yes, every bit of his behavior is real and genuine. So my presumption is that, yeah, whatever you witnessed was probably real. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there because it's a thing I've seen enough times for it to really bug me and get under my skin, to think that anybody would accuse somebody of faking with something like cluster headaches. I am of the opinion that it's not possible to be over dramatic when you're talking about cluster headaches, because they're very intense. You see thrown all over the internet. I'm going to close my Facebook. It's driving me nuts. You see thrown all over the internet sometimes that it's the most painful condition known to medical science. There's debate over that. But does it really matter if it's the most painful? Because the fact that there's even a question that it could be the most painful, to me, is enough indication that it's really, really painful. And just the mere fact that cluster headache sufferers get as many attacks as they do, and for people like my boyfriend who is chronic, just every day they're getting multiple attacks. So even if they were really only as painful as a migraine, which I say only, and I understand, I get migraines, so I know how horrible they are. But my boyfriend also gets migraines, and he says without any hesitation that cluster headaches are exponentially worse than that. So all I'm trying to say is, like, if you've got some problem with a particular cluster headache sufferer and you're like, they're faking, they're being dramatic, I don't know what other issues you may have with that person, and maybe that person is a jerk. But anything else you might want to say about that person, I feel reasonably certain that whoever it is not faking. So, okay, I've said my piece, I think. I'm comfortable putting that out there. Okay, 7 minutes, 49 seconds. Okay.